Hey guys, Baz from EQ Property, and we are live from Evelyn Business Park and wanting to bring a quick presentation from a lot of questions that we get asked from prospective buyers, prospective purchasers, just wanting to know a little bit more information around what is the growth story that's coming here in Officer South. And I want to just go through and explain that and give you a lot of data and understanding of comparables with Clyde that I was talking to people about 5-6 years ago. And I do believe that Officer South's next in line with a very similar story. And let's just get into it. So firstly, look, we got into this land in about 2024. As you can see, empty paddock. And in 2025, when construction began with our first phase of our estate, and 2026 for phase 2. And already the buyers from phase 1 have received minimum of around about $35,000 in uplift from the original prices, which has been fantastic for them. And 2026 and beyond, we expect the future of Officer South is going to be very healthy, and we're going to explain to you why. So phase 2 of our business park, we've got 12 warehouses available. We're 1.5 kilometres to the M1 freeway. We've got no competing stock and a very quickly growing population and infrastructure. And we're going to go into explain how that's happening. So firstly, what I want to do is I want to actually go to Clyde. Okay, this is an aerial map of Clyde's industrial area as it is today. But let's go back to around about 2018, 2019 to show you what Clyde looked like back then. So as a quick comparable, we've got the estates that are not built. If we quickly span back to now, we've got all of this is starting to be built out, right? But this interesting story is in 2019 when Clyde first started, as you guys can see, some roads are being put into place. 2018, there was absolutely nothing, some roads there. And as the story moves on into 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, let's have a look at the housing infrastructure that's being built around it. 23, 24, and all the way to now. As you can see, a very built up area and an established industrial precinct. Now, I want you to pay attention to one of the properties which I was actually looking at back then, or talking to potential purchasers back then, which is on Spillway Close. Now, what I've done is I've jumped into the property history. Now, if you look at 2020 or thereabouts, this was not created. 2021, it looks like it was built and sold. So let's go into the property history and how and where this started. So if we have a look closely, we can see that property was sold for $730,000 on 7th of May 2025. But let's have a look at where this started. So initially, on the 16th of February 2021, which was only 4 years ago, 5 years ago I should say now, my bad. 5 years ago, that property sold for $343,992. And I remember back then, people were saying, oh my God, how can that be that price for Clyde North? Let's fast forward all the way back to now. Property sold for $730,000 on 7th of May 2025. That is double, if not a little bit more than double, than where it originally started, which is some amazing growth into an area that's rapidly expanding and growing in 2025. As we cross over and we go towards Officer South, I want you guys to know this is where our estate is. As you can see, the residential is starting to close in, and I'm going to go to where the Officer South story started. So let's go to where our site is on Summit Lane. Let's bring up the mapping software. And as you can see, when we first purchased this block of land, absolutely nothing there. Can you see a similar comparison to 2019? Yep, absolutely not much going on in Clyde North either. So if we go back, 2024, when our first buyers got in, let's show you what the estate's done. So effectively, when we come back to now, you can see the construction of warehouses, different Businesses have started to come into the estate, and it's rapidly changing. Like 2024, there was nothing here. If you look around 2026, there are buildings popping up everywhere. So the phase one of our estate is here. This is phase two next door. But what I actually want to get into is that what makes it exciting is the infrastructure that's popping in. So firstly, Thompson's Road, which is connecting from Clyde North, is coming straight through here and going straight to Clyde North. You can see the construction of the housing estates. There's further development happening down here. There's more subdivisions coming through. But I'm going to point you to some of the permits that have popped up, which I find really, really interesting. So firstly, we've got a couple of really large businesses. We've got a mattress manufacturer, Baker Desley. We've got a tyre company coming in. We also have down here, when we click on permits, this is the really important one. Use and development of a childcare centre, gym, office, shops. We've got in this corner just up here. So this side, our side's just over here, and over here we've got gym, offices, amenity coming into the area. We've got more housing coming through over here, and all the businesses starting to come through. Now, the reason why I say this is because what follows infrastructure, what follows all these businesses starting to come through is growth. And if you look similarly to Clyde, as it was all those years ago in 2019 when there was not much happening, and as it got built up, only within 4 to 5 years, you can see prices went from 2,000 a meter to double to 4,000. So what we're trying to say here is that if we start with the prices we have today in Officer South, what do you think will happen as everything starts getting built out here? All your infrastructure comes in, the roads are already starting to be upgraded, Thompson's Road gets connected. That is the future of growth. And I hope you can also see the capital story that we have for you. Thank you for listening.